Hey everyone, Espen here. Hope you can see and hear me well. Let's see if this works out tonight. Let me just check that everything is up and going on my end here. Seems good. If someone can confirm you're hearing me and seeing me all right, I'd be grateful for that. Good. Very good. Sound and vision okay? Thanks for the feedback. Well, this is another live stream, the first one in 2023, and happy New Year to everyone watching. Long overdue. I really enjoy these live streams. I've done a few last year, and it's a great way for me to meet you guys in sort of face-to-face, the best face-to-face possible when you're not here in the room with me in the studio. And this live stream here will be mostly about my announcement in the video last week, where I said I was gonna sell everything, if you remember that. And I had this video with this title here, and this video has well, some people are upset for various reasons. Some are upset because they think I'm going to sell absolutely everything, even though I used the asterisk in the video title and in the thumbnail preview image as well on my YouTube channel. And some are upset that I'm not just getting a bigger house or something like that. Well, it's not that trivial as getting another house, bigger house. And some think I'm selling everything because I find it hard to work with all these creative options, etc., etc. So there's a lot of reasons and comments for I have my reasons, and there's lots of comments about why I did what I did in terms of the video title. But just let's say something right off the bat. I would never say anything in a video title or a video that I wouldn't say to you face to face if you were in the room with me. So if I had this friend coming over one day and he'd be ringing the door, I'll answer, and the first thing I would say to him is, "Hey, I'm selling everything." "What? Are you selling everything?" "Yeah, everything I just use occasionally." So I'm not afraid to exaggerate in the spur of the moment. Of course, I'm not selling everything. I'm selling everything I never use, and I'm selling the stuff I occasionally use because I have too much. That was sort of the idea of the video. And some people reacted to that, and that's great. And often when I post these small, shorter videos with some announcements or news or things like that, I get a lot of comments in the comment section, and this time as well. So I didn't have I couldn't answer all the comments. I answered a few, so I'm just going to answer the bigger questions here in this live stream today. And if you have questions in the comment sections right now in the chat window, please ask them here, and I'll see if I can answer them during this live stream as we go along. So about the selling stuff, you know what? I'm looking into the room right now, and all I really want is to get a sofa in here or a recliner so I can just sit down or take a nap or just listen to my mixes or whatever, which I can't do right now. The only places I have to sit right now is on this chair I'm sitting right now. It's so cramped in here. So that's mainly the reason I'm letting a lot of stuff go. I just want to have more space in this room. Like I said in the video, I could easily have worked with 1,000 synthesizers, modules, samplers, etc. It's not based off any creative choice at all. The reason why I'm selling, I just want more space, and I don't have any more space to take in this house. So I have to get rid of stuff because I really want a sofa in here. So that's really the main reason here. So that's that. And gotten tons of questions about, hey, where's your eBay sales list? Where's your Reverb sales list? Where's your Craigslist listing? Because I said the word Craigslist on the video, and that was just a figure of speech. We don't have Craigslist in Norway. We have something called Finn, which is a similar place where you can sell stuff. And I'm only selling locally here in Norway. So to all you guys wondering about any lists, there's no list for me to post for selling out of the country. It's not going to happen. And I have some 10, 15 items on sale right now on that list. And I'm asking top dollar for my gear. I'm not giving it away. If I don't sell it to the price I want, then I won't sell it. And I'll just have to be stuck here with no sofa for the time being. But there's really no hurry. So it'll sell if it'll sell. And if not, well, let's try again at another time. January is a bad month to sell stuff anyway. People don't have any money left after Christmas. They're paying off credit cards, etc. So I don't have great expectations of selling a lot of stuff in January anyway. So, but a lot of things has gone out already, and I'll make update videos about what's gone out and what's staying. And a lot of stuff is staying. I can assure that. So that's about that. I see someone here let me put that up on the screen here. Let's check out this comment here. Let's find it. I think Espen is making room for a Fairlight, and that is definitely not true. I'm not making room for a Fairlight, although I would really like to have a Fairlight. I've said that before, but I'm not clearing out the room to get a Fairlight. That's the honest truth, unless someone is actually planning on sending me one, but I don't know that yet. I'll get to that live rig in a second, because that was the other announcement in the video. But as for the selling stuff, some stuff has gone out already. One of the SSL6 mixers has gone out. What else? The Akai S700 has gone out. What else? The Roland S50 has gone out. And what else? Bits and pieces, smaller stuff, etc. A couple of SSL EQs for the 500 series rack is going out. Has gone out. Those were actually sent to England because they're so small, so they're easy to ship out. I can't do that with, or I won't do that with big keyboards, etc. And I'm not making room for a CS80 either. And to everyone coming in right now, thanks for joining this live stream where I go through a little bit of what I announced in the last video on YouTube about me selling everything. Everything is not everything. That's why I use the asterisk to exaggerate slightly. I'm selling stuff to get more space in this room, pure and simple. Nothing else is behind that decision to sell. Chris, you want my Casio FZ10M? Sorry, that's not for sale at the moment anyway. I really like it, actually. I have a lot of cool sounds for it. If anything, maybe I'll get a floppy emulator for it, because the one I have is really singing its last verse, to put it mildly. The Jupiter 8, which you've seen me use in a lot of videos last year, that was never mine, so I can't sell stuff that's not mine. If it was mine, I'd sell it in a heartbeat. If I had a Jupiter 8 that was mine, it would be long gone already, because they fetch a lot of money. So, here's a nice question. Very interested in other styles of music before focusing on synth pop. Do you have guitar or bass heroes? I've gone through this in earlier live streams, so I won't talk too much about this now. Focusing on synth pop, well, for a 10-year-old boy, not sure that's the term I would use. I just happened to fall in love with that sort of music when I was about 10, so it's not something I focused on. But simultaneously, I was very interested in music, making music, reading sheet music, and studying the art of making songs, writing songs. And as such, I very early on fell in love with Dire Straits, thanks to my uncle, and he introduced me to them even before I was 10. And I've always had a thing for Dire Straits and Mark Knopfler, and I followed his career ever since. Communique, which was the first Dire Straits album that I really took to. So I have a lot of Mark Knopfler albums and Dire Straits in general. So I definitely love my guitarists, and Mark Knopfler is one of them. So that's a good question. And let's check out this one. Will you still keep the 2 Alpha Junos, if I remember correctly, or sell one? No. The Alpha Juno is one of my favorite synths ever, and I will, of course, keep that. And I have another one as a spare because I rely heavily on the Alpha Juno when I make my music. Although I don't think the Alpha Juno appeared on the album Dreams very much, very little actually, but I've used it a lot on other things. So the Alpha Juno I will keep. What else? Nice to see so many people here. The Fender Rhodes. What about the Fender Rhodes? Do you ever have one, or is it for your style of music not so important? I've never owned a Fender Rhodes. I've used it as I've done pretty much with every gear on the market, or at least up to a point. And I would never get a Fender Rhodes now, unless someone gave it to me, or I find one in a flea market or something like that. Then I might pick it up. But it doesn't have anything really types of sound that I really want or crave in my music right now. I basically have enough, and even if I sell half of what I have, I still have enough to make my music. So the Fender Rhodes, great instrument, not something I'm looking for right now. What else? Again, I've answered this before from Michael Jerome. Could a Behringer Studio could be a Behringer Studio replacing all the classic gear with clones? I've talked about clones before. Clones are great, as are VST synths, etc. I'm nothing against any type of instrument, really. It's not something I am particularly interested in. But of course, if you only care about the end result, only care about the final mix, the music as such, then you can use anything, and anything will sound good in that sense. To me, it's important to use instruments I like when I make my music, which brings out the best in my music. I've talked about this before, so nothing wrong or right with any types of instruments. You use whatever you feel is nice or okay for you, I guess. So let's see what else. So it's an ongoing process right now, what I'm getting rid of, etc., etc. So let's see how that goes. And the other announcement I had in the video last time was this. I'm doing live gigs this year, and what will I use in my rig? And just a brief explanation, I've said no to doing live gigs for many years now. Ever since I started this channel in about 2017, I've had offers or requests to do live gigs, some small, some bigger, and various lengths of sets. And I've said no to everything because I felt it was too much for a one-man band like mine to go out on road. I did it a lot in the past, and I was sort of fed up with it. I just liked it here in the studio, and I felt that way ever since 2017, actually. But it so happened that I can't say too much about this gig right now, but there's one guy responsible for one thing, gig, event taking place after the summer coming up, and he contacted me on the merits of my new album Dreams, and he just asked me plain out and simple if I'd be interested in doing a live show where I could promote that album and whatever I wanted in terms of music. And while I was reading his request, I was typing down a big no. But just before I was going to press enter on the keyboard to send the big no, I won't, I sort of felt, well, if you've toured with circuses and you felt the smell of horses and elephants for a long time, you never forget it. And was something inside me that just, well, maybe I could give it one more go, because the event is taking place not so far from where I live, so it won't be a big hassle dragging gear out and stuff like that. So, well, I met with a guy, and I've decided to do a show after the summer. And the problem is that they want me to do a set, a 2-hour set, 1.5 to 2 hours, and that's a lot for someone who's been out of the thing for quite a while. So there's a lot to rehearse, a lot to build up, a lot to program, and a lot to chew on for for me, which hasn't done this in quite a while. So my thinking is that if I'm going to rehearse this big of a set, I might as well take it out and do more gigs with it, since I'm spending so much time up until that gig to all the rehearsals and stuff like that. So I think there'll be more gigs coming after that one, not before, because I need that time to build it all up in terms of the performance and the music. 1.5 to 2 hours is a long time, and I will do stuff from my albums those days, and Dreams, of course, and all things in between. And I'm also going to use a guitarist on stage. Back to that guitarist again. So it's going to be me and a guitarist, and the guitarist will also play a little bit of keyboards. So it will be a two-man operation. I'll call the shots, of course. This is a pro guitarist, a good friend of mine, but he's also a pro guitarist. Known him for years, and he'll do exactly what I'll tell him night after night. This is very important. I won't have musicians on with me on stage that do things differently each time. Everything will be rehearsed down to a T, and no surprises. I can assure you of that. That's not how I like it. That's not how Daddy did it. It's not how I do it. So that'll be a lot of fun. I'll present him later in upcoming videos. I was thinking I'm going to share some videos, rehearsal videos, where we just sort of work on the project and the set list and decisions and how my thought process is evolving, putting together this live show. I have to put together the set list in about at least in the coming month. Everything will have to be ready in terms of the set list and what I'm going to do in terms of programming. And so what am I going to using in that live rig? Well, like I told you in the video, I will not be a Norwegian kebu in the sense that I'm using 20 synths on stage. I will have to scale things down so it's manageable. But of course, I want the music to sound like it's on the albums. So that means I have to rely on samples for as a big part of the sounds. So I'm going to do The Ayla S2400 is going to do a lot of the drums. Going to program that as a old drum machine. That's why I got the S2400 to use it as a replacement for all the old drum machines. And now that pays off because I can put all my samples. I have samples of every single drum machine I've ever owned and borrowed into that Ayla S2400, and those sounds are ready to be programmed into the different songs. So that'll be kind of easy peasy to do. It'll just take a bit of time to do it, but I have the sounds already. So those are going to go into the Ayla S2400. And the main instrument I'm going to use as a master keyboard and sampler in that sense is this one. I'm going to use the Sequential Prophet X as my main workhorse keyboard for these gigs. And there are many reasons why I chose the Prophet X. And I'll come back to that in a video pretty soon. I have a video coming on to my channel where I go through why I chose the Prophet X. But since you're on this live stream and are very faithful coming back to these live streams, the Prophet X has two sample instruments I can use. I can layer those or use them one at a time. And in addition to that, it has two synth oscillators, so I can layer beneath sampled sounds if I want to. And so all my signature sounds, custom sounds from the records, will be sampled into the Prophet X to be used in the show. Not the drums, that's going to go onto the S2400, but all the synth sounds, mainly synth sounds, will go into the Prophet X, like the sounds from the JX8P, from the Alpha Juno, from the Prophet VS. The Prophet X has the Prophet VS waveforms in it already, but I'm going to sample my Prophet VS, those sounds I'm relying on, onto the Prophet X, etc., and do it from there. So I look forward to using that for as a main workhouse. I will not use a workstation type of keyboard. I've had people suggesting the Kronos or Montage and Modex, etc., but I will not use any workstation keyboards to gather sounds or use as a sequencer. I'm going to use a external sequencer to sequence things I cannot play live. So a lot of bass lines will be sequenced, of course. The Prophet X can be split, so I can have the sequencer drive the bass lines from one part of the Prophet X while I play another part on the Prophet X simultaneously. So it'll give me a lot of flexibility. And the Prophet X is, of course, something I will use live. That's not something I got for using in the studio. Its main use will be as a workhorse keyboard doing live gigs. So that's that. I never considered the Waldorf Quantum. I looked at that. I didn't try it, but I looked at that, looked at videos and read reviews, etc. But it doesn't appeal to me at all, actually, and it doesn't have the easy peasy fast layout as the Prophet X. And while you can do more stuff with the Quantum, it's not something I'm interested in. I'm interested in getting lots of sounds fast and easy and in good sound onto the Prophet X, multi-samples with the velocity layers, very important. And that's what I'm going to use the Prophet X for. So that's that. So it's the Prophet X, the Ayla S2400. I'll probably take the Akai S900 with me as well, because I really like the sound of that, and I have some samples there that I think will augment the set. And I might take one Alpha Juno with me as well. I'd like to have two keyboards, at least, maybe three, and the keyboardist, the guitarist, will also use one of these to play on. So we'll probably set it up in sort of a 90-degree angle or something like that. I'm not sure about that yet. That'll come later, but I think it's gonna work out quite nice, actually. And I also have to have one more thing in the rig, and that is I want to have a digital mixer so I can run everything on stage, monitor from stage. So I'll only feed front of house 2 lines. I've done this in the past. It works very well if you know what you're doing. And the front of house guys I will encounter during these live gigs, they won't know my music at all. They won't know anything really about effects or things like that. So a digital mixer where I can just program in all the scenes for all the songs with effects, returns, etc. That'll be vital to get my music across. And I'll choose a digital mixer with networking or Bluetooth capabilities, so I can set this up from front of house myself prior to going live on stage, so I know how everything will sound. I'm not a guy taking chances. I'll minimize a risk by doing everything myself, and that's always how I worked. I really like to have full creative control over everything, and so also live. So again, I'll post some videos during the process. I've not yet chosen a digital mixer for this. It'll have to be rack mountable, so I can transport it easily. So let's see what I choose. There's not that much to choose from on the market for that. I'll need 16 to 24 channels, I think. So let's see what I can do. The Yamaha TF rack, I'm sure you mean the TX816. That's definitely not going on the road, although it's more than roadworthy in terms of metal. But I will not take any of these racks outside. Maybe the TX812 could be a contender for doing live shows. Let's see. So the Behringer X32 digital mixer is of course way too big, physically big in terms of my needs, but it has a scaled down brother called the X32 Producer, which is rack mountable, and that's definitely something I've been eyeballing lately to see if it'll suit my needs. That and the Allen Heath QU 16 is also very nice in that regard. Small rack mountable digital scene storage, etc. Motorized faders, very important. I have to have motorized faders because I want to see those faders go into position, going from scene to scene. I have to see the faders go into the levels of each of the synths and drums, etc., going through that mixture. So that's that. Let's see what we have here. Lots of questions coming in. That's very nice of you. Thank you for doing that. Let's see what we have. I'm not selling my Nuendo rig, of course. I have to have my DAWs to be able to record music, and both my own music and clients' music, of course. But I know Logic can be buggy, so can other DAWs. But I'm not selling any of my computer stuff in terms of DAWs. I have to have that. Thanks for asking, Espen. Nice to see you here, by the way. Very nice. So let's see what we have. Questions here. Which legendary 80s engineer producer would you love to work with? It would be nice to meet them all and talk to them. And I've actually already have had a nice chat with one of my 80s heroes in terms of engineers, mixing engineers, and that video is actually due tomorrow. And I'll reveal who that is at the end of this live stream. But one of my all-time favorite mixing engineers is joining me tomorrow in a video, a 2-hour plus long video where I chat with him about this and that. So that's totally awesome. I can't wait to release that video tomorrow. Padgham, Rupert Hine, Bob Claremountain, Steve Lillywhite, Daniel Lanois, etc. All legends, and I would love to talk to all of them actually if I had the chance. And who knows, maybe it'll happen one day. So let's see. I saw one question here which was kind of fun. This one. Hi, Espen. When you're not in the studio, do you do any gardening? And I can honestly say I don't do any gardening except going back and forth with the mower, cutting the grass. That's all I do. I did way back make my own tomatoes and vegetables and stuff like that, but it's simply too much work, too much watering, too much nurturing and stuff like that to be really worth the time. And it's basically a lot cheaper just going onto the store and buying that stuff in terms of time spent. But I have to say it tasted better, the things I grew myself. But I don't do it anymore. My wife does a little bit of gardening, and she seems to enjoy it, while I do not. Question about the library gear. Effects going to be rack mounted to or a mix of pedals. I will not use pedal, of course. I'll leave that to the guitarist for his rig. He's free to use whatever he wants, as long as he don't drag any cabinets on stage. That will not work for me. It'll have to be pedals and stuff like that. So he'll do that. I'll use whatever effects are in the digital mixer I go for, in addition to a couple of effects that I have in the studio, which I will also take on stage when I go out. So I'll get back to that later. And let's check this question out. Respect, Mr. K, setting yourself a real mission, massive amount of work to do before and during gigs. How are you going to fit in the dance routines? Well, I'm not going to dance on stage. This is not a dance act. I know we are joking around here, but I don't like to do the comparison because I hear that a lot in terms of my music, but I'm definitely a sort of Chris Lowe type when it comes to playing the music. I play the music, do the gig without much fuzz. You don't come to my show to see a lot of dance moves or stuff like that. I'm not doing this, turning the filter. That's really not me at all. I've never seen the point of that, really. That's just me. I prefer to stand still and concentrate on doing the music to the best of my ability. And I'll leave the dancing up to the guitarist, if anyone he's done it before. I don't think he's watching this right now, but let's see what's going to happen on stage there. So that's that. And that's basically what my last video was about. The selling everything stuff and the live gig stuff. These two things has nothing to do with each other. I'm not selling stuff to buy a live rig, and I'm not selling stuff to get room for the live things in the studio. So this is actually quite what's the word? Both things just happened at the same time. My decision to throw something out and my decision to do some live gigs just happened almost on the same day. So just incidental. So nothing schemy about that. So let's see. And coincidental. Thank you for bringing up that word I was looking for. And another announcement I have, which I was going to do in this live stream as well. Again, this has nothing to do with the two other main news this week. A question here before I go into that third announcement. Got a light show. Well, that first gig, the guy contacting me, etc., which I told you about earlier, they have it all sorted. This is a major thing, and it's going to be a awesome live light show during that gig with, I think, projections and everything, maybe laser, all kinds of stuff. And the best part, I hope this will happen. It's my desire to stream that gig live while it's happening. I hope we can make that happen. I can't make any promises. This has not been sort of talked through with the arranger of this event, but I hope to be able to stream it live on my channel. That'll be cool. So there will be lights, there will be projection going on during the live show, but I don't have many details right now. It is some months to the show, so let's see what happens. I'm just throwing out some desires, ideas, what I think will happen, but what will actually happen at that night, I don't know yet. So let's see how it goes. So back to that third announcement. I'll try to keep this live stream short and sweet today. In the next couple of weeks, I will release a new YouTube channel, a sister channel to my main music channel. This is not something I've talked about at all in videos. I'm planning for it, prepping for it, have been for a while. This is not a channel that will in any way have an impact on my major music channel. That will go on as ever with regular postings and quite frequent as well. So it will not make any impact in terms of video uploads on my major channel. But this second YouTube channel, which I hope a lot of you guys will check out and sub to, is all the other things I have and things I want to talk about, show, do on YouTube, which is not directly music related. I have collections of a lot of 80s artifacts, laserdisc, games, computer things, tech, non-tech, books, all sorts of stuff that's been with me since I was a child and up to now, which I've never had much chance of showing off on my major YouTube channel because it's not directly connected to music. But a lot of this stuff I'm talking about has a major impact on my creativity and on my music making. I often watch a movie or take out some old toys or whatever from the 80s and 90s, which makes me make my music. It inspires me to make my music. So I can't wait to do some stuff on YouTube that is very important to me. That brings me a lot of joy. And I've been thinking about this for a while, and I will not be able to post videos on this channel 2 times a week. This is not meant to be a sort of channel where I'll spend that much time, but I have some stuff already made that I have a little pool of videos I can throw at you at the beginning, at the release of the channel. So I'm very much looking forward to that, and I hope you'll enjoy it too. And that's nice. Still have a working Pioneer player too. And Danke, you mean Laserdisc, of course. And Laserdiscs are so totally awesome. I can't wait to show you guys some of my Laserdisc collection. And I have some very cool ones as well. So that's that. And back to the live rig again from Robert here. Good luck with the live shows. Thank you, Robert. Will you play any classic 80s covers or only own material? And that's a very good question. And I will do covers in the live show as well. It will mainly be my own music, but I will do covers. And I can already tell you that the Tangerine Dream cover, live cover I have on my channel of Stealing the Silver Cross, which I did with that guitarist, which are going to play with me live. We will do that track live in these gigs because we really dig that song. We like to play it. It's a lot of fun to play and it'll sound awesome. So you can check that out today if you want to give a little glimpse of how the live shows will be in terms of music, and that is a cover. I also have a couple of other covers lined up that we will do because the audience will love it. It's always a good thing when big acts do a couple of covers, at least in my opinion, on their live shows, because it sort of brings all that nostalgia into the show in a very special way. So doing some live covers will be something I'd really like to do. Another question here. Espen Kraft, in a live setting, which sequence stuff, with sequence stuff, do you prefer to play the chords and melodies live or the bass? I said that earlier in this live stream. I will not do much of the live bass because that will really tie me up in a way I don't want to. Remember, if I'm going to do things from those days, the album Those Days, I have to make sure everything works in terms of technique, the drum machine sequencing, etc. I'll have to play live, and I have to sing as well. So singing, playing, and making sure that everything works, it's pretty tough. And so therefore, while I'm singing, I'll definitely do some more easy stuff on the keys, so I can mainly focus on singing and let muscle memory do the chords, etc. I used to admire Howard Jones a lot for what he did in the 80s, where he actually played the synth bass on his Yamaha DX7, quite intricate bass lines sometimes, while doing chords and singing at the same time. So I'm not sure I'm going to go that route, but I'll definitely sing and play chords at the same time. And many of my tracks will be instrumental, of course, where I can just concentrate on playing. And there, maybe I'll play some bass and chords at the same time if the bass lines are within reasonable grasp, like the Tangerine Dream cover, where it's more of a sort of drone bass, where you hold down the bass note while you play the chord. So that's something I'll do, I guess. Okay, let's do this one again. Moog or Moog, and it's Moog. It's not Moog, it's Moog. I know that because I learned it off John Bowen. You can watch my John Bowen interview. It's pronounced Moog, while I know a lot of you UK-based guys say Moog, but I think, and I'm pretty sure, the correct pronunciation is Moog, like in Rogue. So that's that. Vogue. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to go into more how do you pronounce this and that. We have that in Norwegian as well. So I'll bite if I'm in a Norwegian discussion. I will not bite more here in terms of pronunciation. Yeah. So that's that. Let's take this question here. Besides music and gear, what's your next favorite category or categories of 80s stuff you love most? Well, that's what I'm going to show on my new channel. Everything I love besides music and gear. So that's movies, uh, like Laserdisc, VHS, which I love, toys, computer stuff, handheld, uh, video games, lots of books, magazines, even clothing from the 80s. And just to be absolutely clear, this channel will not be only 80s, it will be the 70s, 80s, 90s, and the 2000s as well, at least the start of the 2000s. I think of the PlayStation 2 now as vintage tech. I know this is up for debate. Someone claims that vintage has to be at least 50 years old. I don't think so. If it's 20 years old or older, it's vintage to me. So it will be from the 70s, 80s, 90s, Laserdisc in the 90s, and 2000s as well. So how about that? Okay, I'll bite on this one. If I can find it here. This one. What's your favorite Scritti Politti song from Provision? And it's all of them. I love that album. I've talked a little bit about it in a What Was In It magazine far back, not Keyboard magazine. I think it was Music and Tech, where I talk a little bit about that album because it talks a little bit of how it was made. So I love every song on that. No one in particular. I just love Scritti Politti. Period. Will you do any more Akai S series sampler videos? I have videos about the S612. I have videos about the S700. I have videos about the S900. I have videos with the S1000. If I had the S1100, I might do something about that effects card in it. I had that in the past. I don't have it now. Don't see any reason to have it now either. But I will not do any more dedicated Akai S sampler videos. I might show it in videos where I make music and stuff like that, but I'm pretty much done with the showing off Akai S samplers in isolation on this channel. It's much more interesting to me to do creative videos where I show how I use the stuff in a production environment with other stuff, making music. So that's the answer for that. I have no idea who Per Arne Brandal is. Never heard that name. So someone was asking that. No idea who he is. Here's a very interesting one. Imagine live show and computer asking to restart because of some really important updates. Yeah. I will not be using any laptops or computers on my stage. I've made that decision a long time ago that I would never do a live show with a laptop. And when it now came down to it, where I accepted a request for a live show, the answer was obvious. I will not do any computers on stage in that sense. So there will be no updates to download during the live show. And let's answer this one as well. I find Cupid and Psyche to be a much better record. Well, Sam, I can't say I agree that it's a much better record, but I have very strong emotional ties to Cupid and Psyche 85, which is the full name of the album. Because I was in the northern part of Norway when that record was released in 1985, so I played that a lot in '85. And I've come to love that as well. That was my first love for Scritti Politti. And it's a absolutely stellar album, as I also think Provision is. So I totally agree with it. It's a fantastic album. I hold them both in high regard. So I just had to answer that. about that no laptop on stage. It's just I don't want the music coming out to be sort of pre-recorded. You know what I mean? Even if I play back some clips in sync with the music, it will not come from a computer like a laptop or stationary computer. I want to be as live as possible. I want to be in control of the different segments of each song. So that's why I'm not going to do any laptops. I want to not stare on a screen while I perform. I want to look at the audience and play the instruments and be in that moment, not be tied up checking my email while I'm gigging because there's a passage where I don't have to do anything. So I just want to play and perform. And other people using laptops, okay with me. I would not attend a live show where everything was coming from a laptop myself. That's why I don't fancy any DJ shows at all where just a guy playing music from a laptop. What's the fun in that? I'm old, so I'm obsessed with performing and doing things live in that sense, that it's coming from my hands and my gear, which I operate and decide uh, when things are going to happen. So that's my take on it. About those 80s action movies and favorite themes, Commando is of course a nice. There's so many. There's so many nice 80s action themes that I'll probably do a video on that on the new channel coming up in a couple of weeks. I'm actually. Let me ask you this. Maybe you can help out because I'm not yet decided. But you have to be quick. Not maybe tonight, but email me, comment on this live chat, or right here in the chat right now. What channel name do you think encapsulates what I'm trying to do here? I don't want a channel name suggesting it's only tech or only movies or only this and that. I want a channel name for my new channel that sort of takes everything in that I want to show, the nostalgia of my past. It can be tech, music, movies, toys, clothing, etc. I'm still debating with myself what channel name I should use. I have 5 or 6 options written down, which I'm gonna have to commit to soon, because when I create my channel, the first thing I have to do is type in that channel name. So I'm really, I'm not struggling. I'm just tasting different names at the moment. So if you have any good ideas, let me have them. So I can have more options to choose from. Yeah, not I cannot have a channel name with music in it. Espen Kraft, the main channel, that's the music channel. This other channel is everything else. So maybe that's the name, everything else. Let's see. It'd have to be some sort of tie to the nostalgia, vintage, retro. So something in that sense. And I don't want to commit to 80s or 90s or 70s in the channel name either, because that'll sort of exclude everything else. So it has to take in 4 different decades: the 70s, 80s, 90s, and the 2000s as well. So you can ponder, think about that for a while, and in a week or so, I have to make my decision. Yeah, thanks for putting up some names here. I'll read everyone and think about it, definitely. So that's that. If everyone entering the live stream, I don't have a list for items for sale. I only sell locally, and just rewind the stream and watch from the beginning, where I go through why I'm selling, why I'm selling, and what I'm not selling. So check back on that. Yeah, we're going to close this off any minute now. I set out to do a live stream for about an hour. Tomorrow on my YouTube channel, I have a treat for you. I'm going to let you in on what it is right now. And just before Christmas last year, I had the chance to sit down and talk with two of my absolute heroes from the 80s and 90s. And I'm sure these names are not familiar to everyone watching, but a lot of you guys will know exactly what people I'm talking about. And I had a 2-hour, 15-minute chat with no other than Phil Harding and Ian Kernow. And Phil Harding, he was the mix master at Stock Aitken Waterman. He personally mixed everything from Kylie Minogue's Hand on Your Heart, Dead or Alive, You Spin Me Round, and numerous hits for Stock Aitken Waterman, which has their own videos out right now about the years at Stock Aitken Waterman. But Phil Harding, he was the mixing engineer, the head engineer, mixing engineer at Stock Aitken Waterman, and to sit down and talk with him for over 2 hours about everything from mixing kick drums, the Linn drums, and the Calrex Soundfield microphone, and all the stories, everything was such a treat for me. And Ian Kernow, he was the main man behind all the Fairlight and synth programming on those records. When you hear the string and brass arrangement on Never Gonna Give You Up, that is Ian Kernow and his Fairlights. And he's very open about where the samples came from and every other thing as well. He did so much stuff for Stock Aitken Waterman, which Phil Harding mixed. And I have a 2-hour, 15-minute interview with them coming up tomorrow night here in Norway, about the same time as this live stream started. And I can't wait to release it, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. And while it's long, you can just listen to it. You don't have to watch the screens. You can just listen to it as a podcast or whatever. It's totally awesome. Two very generous guys, which were my heroes in the 80s and 90s. I looked up to them a lot because I really loved what they were doing for Stock Aitken Waterman, and also by themselves. Phil Harding mixed The Circus by Erasure. They did remixes for the Pet Shop Boys, and all kinds of cool stuff. So you can really look forward to that. So no, I will not do a tutorial on the Hoover sound, on the Alpha Juno. The Hoover sound is probably on my top 3 list of the sounds I hate the most. The Alpha Juno is so much more than the Hoover sound. The Hoover sound must die immediately. So I will never do a tutorial on the Hoover sound. I have that Hoover sound in my top 10 list over sounds that some people don't like and some like. Okay, so again, thank you for pitching in ideas for the new channel name. Thank you for bringing on questions. I will do a live stream like this pretty soon again, because I like it and you seem to like it. And this is me, Espen Kraft, signing off. Have a good one, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video. So bye for now. Cheers.